Welcome all to the Weekly Outlook. Bernie here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the Weekly Outlook, starting with the DXY. Nothing's changed on the daily. There is no real clear direction now because we did get this C wave down. It did break the ending point of wave A, but I would have liked to see a little bit more downside down to this 100 fib, or at least go and break this low. It hasn't done that. So again, there are quite a few different scenarios. This might be an A, and we get a B wave in here, a C down in here, and then we get an A, B, C. As an example, we get an A, B, C. So we may get a larger correction before we get that C down. So really, there is no direction on the daily. We're going down to the lower time frames to find a direction. H4, we got that WXY, X2, and that Z down. We lost all the bullish divergence. I was just looking for a larger correction in here and another one down. We are starting to get bearish divergence in here as well. I was looking for a flat for an A, B, C down as the flat, and then we get a C up before we get more downside. We sort of haven't really got that flat, but I would be starting to look for downside. We are getting bearish divergence on the H1 as well. So we're sort of looking at that WXY, X2, and we got that Z up breaking the top. We had a nice impulse down, but now we're getting a larger correction in here. You can definitely look to scalp this, but you'd have to be mindful that it may be just an A, B, C. It may not come and break that low just yet. AU on the daily, it's very difficult as well. All the majors are very difficult at this stage because we were looking for this C up in here. Instead, we got a bear hidden here. I would have liked to see more upside in this wave C. So now it can become more complex. We get another one down in here, and we get some sort of a flat in the middle here for an A, B, C, and then you get the A, B, C as some sort of running or expanding flat before you get more downside like the A, B, C. So again, we never got that C up. We don't have a complete structure, corrective structure, so it may become more complex. So again, we're looking to the lower time frames for a direction instead of the daily. The H4, we've got that like WXY. I was looking for an X2 and then a Z up. That still may be possible. We do have a possible bull hidden here on the H1. We got the 3 down. We got that A, B, C. It hasn't come down to this 100 fib quite yet. Last week, I believe we were in here somewhere, and I was just looking for a correction to give us one more down. We didn't have that bullish divergence, so I was looking for that one more down. We still may get that one more down before, we get any upside. GU on the daily, again, like all the other majors, very unclear on the daily. This can be like the A, B, C, like I'm looking at it. Wave C did break the ending point of wave A, so it may be complete. Or the second scenario is this is an A, this is a B, and we get a C down in here. And this does look rather choppy, but on the lower time frames, like it has for the last couple of weeks, it looks very corrective up here for more upside. It's not, it's consolidating up the top here. There was a trade and a scalp there, but So on the H4, we got the 5 up, and we're starting to get, we got an ABC in here, but it hadn't gone up and broken the top. Really looking for a correction here larger than these corrections here, over here after the 5 up. So we're just waiting for a complete structure correction. It's not really giving us a nice buy setup. So we did get this like this like A and a B and a C down. With the bullish divergence, it didn't gave us a large correction in here, and we just got an A, B, C in here. So, we're sort of getting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We may get like 3 down in here to finish off the larger correction, or even 5 down in here as a 3, 3, 5 before we get more upside. This is looking rather bullish still, so it is quite risky to sell at this stage, even though we do have the 5 up on the H4. EU on the H1, sorry, on the daily, we got this A, B. We're looking for this C up again. We got this C up. It did break the ending point of wave 8, but I'd really like to see more upside. Never got anywhere near the trend line or the 100 pip. So again, we're starting to get across down on the MACD here. So there's 2 scenarios, really. We got this is an A, B, C, and that's the end of the wave C, and we come down, break the low. Or this becomes more complex. Like I showed on GU, we sort of get an A, a B, and a C down in here before we get any more upside. So again, we have to go down to the lower time frames to find the direction. The H4, we got the 5 up. We lost the bearish divergence, so I was just looking for a correction in here and then more upside. Well, we do have those 3 down. It didn't get down to the 100 fib, which is fine. Price action doesn't have to get down to the 100 fib. But we are starting to get all that bullish divergence on the H1. So really, there is no buy setup yet, and there is no sell setup. If we look at the corrections over here in the 5 up, you'll see that we are around about the same size corrections as over here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get more downside in a correction. So I wouldn't be surprised if this, gives a little bit more downside before we get a buy set up to buy it. I'm just really waiting for a buy setup, but again, it's not giving us that buy setup. We're getting all this bullish divergence, so really just waiting for a buy setup. NU, nothing's changed on the daily either. It's like AU, we have a bear hidden in here. Oh, sorry, we don't have a bear hidden in there. We got a cross here on this one. We got that bullish divergence. I was looking for this A, B, and a C up in here. This wave C hasn't even gone and broken the ending point of wave A. So again, it's turned down. So it may become more complex, like I showed on the others. So really, we're looking on the lower time frames to get that direction. Like many of the other pairs on the H4, we got the 5 up. And then on the H1, we got the 3 down. We're sort of starting to get a buy set up here. we got all the bullish divergence, and we got a nice impulse up. This looks corrective, like we get an A, B, C in here, and then we get an A, B. We're getting that C down in here now. So if you get a buy set up on the lower time frames, you definitely can look for the buy, and ideally it takes off and gives us a motive wave up, like a W, X, Y, X2 and a Z up, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however you look at it. But minimum, I'd be looking for at least an A, a B, and a C. So I definitely would look to buy this, as long as it doesn't come down too far. If this starts to come right down to the lows here of this move here, well, you sort of don't worry about taking the buy, and because more than likely it'd just be a regular flat and just break that top and fall over on you. So at this stage, it's a buy. If you want to learn how we trade, you'll have to join the group. Definitely worth joining the group, even for the most experienced trader, because you'll learn things in my group that you will not see anywhere else. Looking at the GU on the daily, this one sort of hasn't played out. Well, it's played out like we're looking for this WX. We got that extended wave Y. I was looking for an a B in here, and a C down for a wave X2, and then we'd look for that wave Z up. This last section here, after we got this internal 5 up here, we got a nice impulse down, but then it's come up and broken the top. So it's not playing real nicely. We sort of got like a WXY. You have to wait for this X2 here now, and then you could look to buy for the wave Z. You can see it's consolidating up the top here. You really need to wait for the time factor, and then you can look for the buy setup. And it'll just be a scalp to buy, just breaking that top more than likely. Yeah. UY, nothing's really changed on the daily since what I said last week. I was looking at this like A, B, C. This top here didn't quite break that top. So I was just looking for a regular flat as an A, B, C. Well, this C down here didn't go far enough, and we had a bull hidden here, like I mentioned many times. So, this can go up and break the top. If this wave here does go and break the top, I'll still be looking at it as a B wave, like I've mentioned, after the last few weekly outlooks. So I'll still be looking for it as a B wave, and we get a C down for an A, B, C as a running or expanding flat then, before we get more upside. On the H4, there really isn't anything. You'd be waiting for the larger correction. On the H4, we are starting to get across down here on the MACD. If we have a look on the H1 though, like many of the other pairs, we got an A, B, C, an A, B, C. This never got anywhere up to that 100 pip, and I believe we did get bearish divergence here. I'll just double check that. Yeah, we did get bearish divergence between the A and the C wave. But again, it's still looking rather bullish. It's consolidating up the top here. So again, we may get like a W, X, Y, X2, and a Z up. It's very difficult to trade at this stage. Even on the lower time frames, because this is the top here. That's the top there. So we got some sort of a WXY. X2, we may be getting an X2 in here and a Z down, and then it may give us another one up. So you'd have to wait for this structure here to complete before you could start to look for the buys over here. The only other scenario is if you let this go and break that top, and then look for a correction. Well, you know, you could just scalp. But yeah, it's not something I'd do, especially up at the top of the market when we're at the top of the market on the daily time frame. USD CAD, this isn't playing very nicely at all. Looking for that WXY X2, and we didn't get that Z up breaking the top. So I've been looking at this like this where is it? I'll go down to the lower time frames. It's the flat that we've been looking at for a very long time. We got the 5 up in here, and then we're looking at that A, B, C, and we got this A, B, C in here, finishing off that B wave. We get the C down, very deep C wave down. At this stage, there is a bear hidden here. So again, like I mentioned last week, you have to be very careful buying at this stage. We did get the 3 up like all the rest of the pairs. Well, most of the other pairs on the H1, we did get the 3 up. But again, it's consolidating up the top here. Instead of giving us a sell setup, it's consolidating up the top here, giving us more of a bullish. It's looking more bullish still. So again, you know, this can be like a WXY X2, and we get a Z up in here before we get the downside. It's not giving us the sell setups, unfortunately, after the 3 up. So yeah, you just have to be very careful. I'm definitely looking at this as a flat, as an A, B, C here, and then you get an A, B, C. So you know, if you got some sort of a setup on the lower time frame, you could look to scalp it just to break this top, and then you know, if you got a sell setup, you could definitely look for the sell. The Swissy on the daily, it's on here. We got this like A, a B, and a C down. With the bullish divergence, it's bounced off the trend line here, this bottom trend line here as well. We are, if you look closely, you know, if you look closely here, we are getting a bear hidden here, in here, between this and this. So it's sort of what I'm looking at on the H4. This can fall over. I've been looking for this flat for a very long time. As you, if you follow me, you'd know I've been looking for this flat. I've been looking for a flat here. We did get that WXY X2 and the Z down. We lost all the bullish divergence with that wave Z down. I wasn't expecting this wave Z to go as far. I was just thinking it would break that low. Then we get a C up like the A, B, C as the flat, and then we get an A, B, C. But nevertheless, we got an A. I'm looking at all this as a B, and we get the C up in here. And then we get an A, B, C. I am still looking at it that way. On the H1, like many of the other pairs, we did get this C up. And like I mentioned, I did get into this one. We got an A, B, C. This one is giving us a sell set. We may get a nice sell set up on this one. This is one of the nicer ones that looks like it may give us more downside. We got all the bearish divergence in here. We got a nice impulse down. We sort of got 5 up in here, and a nice impulse down. So if you get a sell set up in here on Monday, Tuesday, you could look for at least an A, B, C. Ideally, it goes and turns motive on you and comes down and breaks that low. Like I mentioned on the higher time frame, we're looking for that larger C down. EG on the daily. So nothing's changed on the daily. We're looking at that A, B, extended wave C down. We got this WXY X2, and we're looking for that Z down. Unfortunately, this wave Z here didn't go down and break the low. It's giving us like a 1, 2, 3 in here. Even this is looking corrective in here. I mean, we were looking to sell this, you know, like I mentioned at the time, if you go back through my videos, we got all that bearish divergence. We got that nice impulse down. We're waiting for a correction in here. We got that, and we got like 1, 2, 3 down. We are getting that bullish divergence, so it does become riskier. I'd be more interested in the buy now. Ideally, I mean, it's a risky trade because it hasn't completed the structure and gone and broken the lows. It is quite risky. Ideally, it does break the low and then give us a buy setup. Like it to complete that structure. But as you can see on the H1, we're getting all this bullish divergence. And I think I didn't show this, but you know, this may become even more complex as well. You know, we get like an A, this is a B wave, we get a C up here as a flat as well, and then we get that like the A, B, C as well. So really, either way, I am looking for buys and only looking for buys at this stage. We've got all that bullish divergence. Ideally, you'd get nice break above this top here and the trend line, get a correction or a flag, and then you could start to look for the buys. WTI. So there's two scenarios on this one as well. Looking at that as a low, looking at the impulse, and we get a correction in here. So we get an A, B, C here, and then an A, B, C as your flat before we get an A, B, C. There's that scenario there, or we get this is the A, all this is the B, and we get a C up. They're the two scenarios on the daily. I was looking for, well, you can see what I was looking for. I was looking for a flat in here to give us one down in here, and then, you know, load up on the buys. It hasn't done that. Instead, you know, now it's broken the top, so I have to look at it as a contracting flat. I did mention this to you guys last week. Goes up and breaks the top, more than likely a contracting flat. So, you know, we're still getting a C up, but it's not giving a nice correction. Virtually impossible to predict a contracting flat. So we've got an A, a contracting flat in the B, and we're getting this wave C up. This here, we don't have any bearish divergence. I think we did. Yeah, we have lost the bearish divergence. So this is turning motive. So if I just draw the targets here, because you may be able to still get in on this. I mean, it's nearly at the 100 fib. You may get a bullish setup on the lower time frames, and you could search for that like WXY up to this 161.2, and then you get an X2 and a Z up. It's more for the experienced trader if you're going to get in here. But you possibly could. We don't have any bearish divergence on this run up in here. So there has been a couple of nice scalps on it. But yeah, at this stage, I mean, the safest way now to trade this is to wait for a WXY X2 and then look for that wave Z up. Wait for the X2 and trade the wave Z up. That's the safest way to trade this at this stage, unless you're going to try and scalp it up the top here. Gold on the daily. So this is quite interesting. Really, you know, on the weekly, we have broken the top on the weekly. So that may be the end. Or it becomes more complex. On the H, excuse me, on the H4, we got that like A, B, C. That was fine. Bearish divergence bounced off that 100 fib. We got a nice impulse down. We had that bull hidden though. That bull hidden didn't go out and break that top. But if we're looking at the price action now, we got an A. This is looking like a B wave in here. So I'll be looking for like an A, B, C, and then an A, B, C, or that this may turn motive. Right? So at this stage, I'd be looking for a buy just for a wave C up as that A, B, C. This has been difficult to get in as well. It's not really giving it nice buy setups. It just hasn't been. I've been looking to buy this, and it just isn't giving me the setups to buy it. So yeah, if you do get a buy set up on this, you can definitely look for that, like A, B, C. So it was much the same. This one become quite difficult. We got on the daily, we got those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, and A, B, C. Well, correction. And I was looking for this to go up and break that top. It didn't go up and break that top. So this has become quite difficult after that top wasn't broken in this wave here. Like many of the others, we got this like 1, 2, 3 up. This one did go way past that 100 fib, and we did have that bull hidden here. I was thinking really that this would have gone up and broken that top. It looked nice at the time, but it's become more complex. We've got an A. This is a B. We're looking for that C. Well, like I've got it drawn here, like, and then we get an A, B, C. We're not going to get this Z up. We're not going to get that Z up. So I'll take that off. I mentioned that last week. Didn't take it off though. But I'm looking for this correction here, an A, B. We're looking for upside, and you definitely can look for this buy here. It looks better than gold. You're sort of getting like an A, a B, a C in here. And so we'll be looking for an A, B, C, or we get W, X, Y, X2, and a Z up in here, or 5 up in here to finish off that move, and then we get more downside. So, if you get any sort of a buy set up on the lower time frames, you definitely can look to buy this. Take a look at Bitcoin. Really, for Bitcoin, like I've been mentioning, we're waiting for the correction in here. We got a nice impulse up. We got to be patient, wait for that correction before we can look for the buy. We got a nice impulse down, and we're starting to get an impulse up. We go down to the lower time frames. So you really, excuse me, you're really scalping into this correction. That's what we'll be doing. We're looking for sells. We're only really looking for sells. We got an impulse down. We'd be looking for we'd be looking for at least 3 up in here, and then we'd be looking for a sell for an A, B, C. Excuse me. So, you can scalp in this correction. It is quite risky to scalp in corrections. But, for example, I showed this in, excuse me, I showed this in the group here. We got like the WXY. At this stage now, you have to wait for the X2, but there was a buy set up in here on the group. You have to wait for like WXY, wait for this X2, look for that Z up. So you could trade that Z up, then you'd be looking for the larger correction, and then like the A, B, B, and then the C up, like I showed. Yeah, and then you'd be looking for the larger impulse down, for the like 1, 2, 3 down. So you could look for scalps on this. Me personally, I wouldn't be scalping Bitcoin. It's this stays in corrections for a very long time. You have to be very patient to trade Bitcoin. S&P 500 played out beautifully. Got that WXY, X2, the Z up. It's just about at that second target now. So really, there's not much we're going to do with this at this stage. We're just waiting for a sell setup. We got the 5 up. You'd be waiting for a larger correction before you could start to look for buys again, on the daily. The H4, there was this flat in here we were looking at, and it's sort of just scalping up the top here. We're getting all this bearish divergence. So I definitely wouldn't be buying up the top here. I'm really just waiting for a sell setup now. It's just about up to that second target on the daily. So, there's no way I'm going to be buying up the top here. On the H1, you could look for a WXY, wait for an X2 and trade a Z up if you're that inclined to, take the scraps off the table in the wave Z. Ideally, I'd be waiting for the wave Z up, a bearish setup, and look for that sell. It's going to be the larger impulse. AU200, quickly look at this. There's really not much we can do on this either at this stage. This has played out beautifully as well. We got that A, we got the B, bounced off that 100 fib. We got the C, we're getting that C up. It's got a little bit more room up to that 100 fib. But, you've missed the trade. If you're looking for this wave C up, there was trades in here and that I showed during the weekly outlook that you get in on, not up here. We're getting this wave 5 up here on the H4. We got that WXY, X2, and we're getting this wave up. This is the first target, like I showed last week, the 123.6, and the second target's at 161.8. The FTSE, what do I say? This hasn't played nice. I'm going to be very quick on this because, we're looking for that A, B, C in here. It never went. We're still within this impulse here, all this. So it's corrective. So, you're just scalping and there is no clear direction. You're really just scalping in the middle here. There is no direction. You got that possible bull hidden here and that, and it looks like a bull hidden will play out. It's sort of very difficult. We'll be looking at that as a flat, like a WXY, X2 with the bull hidden, and give us a wave Z up to just break that top. I guess if you do trade this, you could look for a bullish setup in here and, just to go and break that top. But yeah, me personally, I just leave this pair alone. It's not worth trading. It's not playing nicely. Very difficult to trade. Why make things hard on yourself when there's so many other pairs to trade that look good when, But ending with the DAX, again, this one didn't really play very nice either. We got that A, we got the B, and this C down in here. Like I've mentioned all along, I would have liked this wave C in here to go a lot further. It never did. We're getting that bull set up like I showed last week. You could have bought this. Looking at this as correction here, like W, X, Y, X2, and that Z down. It's virtually played out how I was looking at. We're looking for a sell in here for that wave Z, and then more upside to go and break the top. It's virtually done that. Now, I wouldn't, I mean, you could go down onto the lower time frames and scalp, but you'd have to be aware that we're getting a lot of bearish divergence. So I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. For all you Australians out there, enjoy your Australia Day celebrations. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.